All right, we are ready to go. Back at the vise. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to SDG. As I mentioned, we're back at the vise today. And might I add, back at the vise by popular demand. If you are not part of the SDG Facebook group, you need to be. Because in there this week, I posted up a poll and said, what do you guys want to see this week? You want to see something from the vise? You want to see some soft plastic work? Or would you rather see like a Wednesday night live stream? One option was the overwhelming majority of those that took part. That was get back to the vise and do something there. So that's what we're going to do today. I've got a color scheme in mind, but I'm going to kind of plead ignorance on a couple aspects here. I am not a walleye fisherman. Wish that I was. We don't have too many waters in my area with walleye, but I do know of at least one. It's the tailwaters of a large-ish lake and a dam. I caught a walleye there on accident on a crankbait years and years and years ago. So I've never targeted them, but I want to. Some videos that I've seen on YouTube, in particular Spencer over at River Certified, he always seems to use the same color pattern worm, just a curly tail little worm that is purple with a chartreuse tail. Here's the thing though, I'm pretty sure that walleye jigs are fairly small. This is not going to be small. This is a 1/2 ounce head, but I want it to be this big. So I don't know, maybe I'm gonna go chase after giant walleye. Maybe this is more of a preacher jig in a walleye pattern. I don't know, we're gonna do it anyway. With that said, let's jump into the build. So here's that 1/2 ounce Ultra Minnow head that I mentioned. It is June bug on the bottom and chartreuse on the top. I've got it already prepped with some pearl 3/16 I believe eyes. So we are all set. Going to be using olive colored, or let's see, no, black. Let's go with black, 210 denier, flat wax nylon, and put down a thread base to get rolling. All right, here we go. So first tailing material, I'm going back to that bugger pack. You guys remember this stuff? I used it on a recent video. It looks, this is the olive version. Looks like that right there. There's actually two different cards, right? Two different pieces. This has got a lot of the fatter, wider feathers on it. This one was replete with little tiny feathers. So this might be sacrilegious, but in order to get a cool looking tail, I thought, why not just grab a whole bunch? It actually broke out. A whole bunch of those little guys, just grab them and yank them off. It's already got a taper to it. See how some are shorter, some are longer? I don't know. Maybe it's sacrilegious, like I said, but I think it's gonna look pretty cool. I want this to be about a hook and a half to 2-ish. Like I said, I'm not being bashful with this. So that looks decent to me. Yeah. I'm gonna flip it over, split it. I just like the way that tailing material sits on the hook when you tie it in on top. It's about the jankiest way to ever tie in a bunch of feathers, but who knows, maybe there's something to it. Pull those up, actually bring the thread back up, pull those up and lock them in on this side. Come back down. Use some of those curved scissors. Sometimes it's easier to work with those. There we go. I took the thread all the way back to where the V-lock starts to move up. So that's a pretty cool start. Next we're going to go to chartreuse bucktail, because again we're looking to mimic that purple body with a chartreuse tail. Alright, so let's measure this up. Don't want it to go as long as the feathers. There we go. a little over halfway for the bulk of it, a couple strands a little longer, like that. Not super tight, just enough to hold it in place. Get that distributed around the shank. Alright, pull that bucktail up, get behind it, lock it in place and come back. Now we can trim that. Use those curved blades again. Next, we're going to put some flash in. So I want just a hint of purple Flashabou along the back here. Sorry. The one side looks, my side, you guys can't, well here. See that? Doesn't look quite as covered. Let's do the flash. We'll address that in a second. I think I just made a decision on the fly there. So we got 3 strands. I'm going to cut this in half. So the first half, I want it right along the side, just about to the end of the bucktail. Should be good. Wrap it around again, right on the side. We'll see if the length is right over here. Yeah, just right. Into the bucktail. And then the other half, I'm going to wrap that around the thread and make a V on top, just so we have some flash on the top and on both sides. So sometimes easier to move this stuff around with a bodkin, just like that. Get it up on top. See that? Makes a V on top, as well as coverage on the sides. So yeah, it is a little light, and I think what I'm going to do is actually go back and get just a little bit more bucktail for the whole, basically another layer, but I'm going to make sure that the side that's closest to me gets a little bit extra. Don't want a whole lot here. I just think it needs to be a little bit more pronounced. Let me get some of that cut, and we'll get a second layer on here. There we go. That looks a lot better. So you can see that second layer there. Just kind of filled it in all the way around. I like that a lot better. All right, next layer. So I want to take up that space between the bucktail that we just put in and the next layer of bucktail, because from here on out it's going to be purple bucktail instead. So what I thought would be a good filler is the UV polar chenille in purple. So we're going to tie some of that in to transition from one layer of bucktail to another, just as a kind of a body material here. Super simple. Put a half hitch right there, bring it around, and spin this on. Pull those fibers back. Give it about a twist and a half or a turn and a half, then yank it real hard, just to kind of lock it in place. That looks good. Then we're going to go off of the collar and do just one rotation. All right, maybe 1.5, just to get a full rotation after the collar. I can grab that from behind, and then in front. That is secure, and cut off our excess. Now we can pull this back a bit and cover up what came across the collar. Right there's the collar, right? So just lock that in, cover it all up, gets a nice secure tie-in point there. And it kind of pushes the material back as well. On to purple bucktail now, all the way around. So let me get some cut off and we'll get it on. All right, I got some cut. I actually cut more than this and then split it into two different piles. We'll put this on two different layers here. So first one, we just need to measure out. I don't want it to go all the way across, right? We need to, I'd like to kind of have it lay about to the length, maybe just a little bit longer than our second layer of bucktail, because I want that to show through, right? Otherwise you just get a big triangle going through the water, and that's not what you're after. So it's not going to be very long. We may actually need more than the two bunches that I cut out already. You get these small little patches like this on a thick collar, you just end up cutting off the majority. So you end up putting in, say, 4 small patches instead of 1 or even 2 larger pieces. Let's see what that looks like. If we like it, then we'll keep it. If not, then we'll go backwards and try something else. I don't know. I don't know if I like that or not. I don't think it's pronounced enough. So I'm actually going to pull this off and try the other patch that I already cut off and let it extend further beyond. We do have longer tailing material that can kind of carry that pattern a little bit further out, even if the hair stops short. So not entirely thrilled with that. Let's try the other. There it is longer, and I have to say, I like it better that way. And you can still see the chartreuse underneath. We run the risk of it losing some of that profile, basically going head, triangle, box out, and then the tail, as opposed to kind of more of a smoother, the head. You're always going to have kind of a transition from the head to the bucktail that's sloping just by the design of the jig. But I was really hoping to get more of a teardrop. Given the length of this hook, only a 2-aught, you just don't have a whole lot of room to develop that teardrop as much as maybe you'd want. But I don't know. I can kind of, as I pull it out like that, I can kind of see it. Let's go with it one way or another. I'm sure the fish don't care, right? I mean, this is us. This is me. Oh, ow, dang, twice. Dang on it. All right, that looks good. Let's lock it in. There we go. You see the other side there. Yeah, I like it. I think you can, like I said, you can still see the chartreuse through there. Of course, the tailing material does a whole lot for it. You got that purple flash in there. Yeah, I think it's coming together. So speaking of flash, let's go back and let's do a little chartreuse flash now. We're going to do the same thing, 3 strands, cut in half, cut in half, and then, you know, one side to the other, and then we'll do the V on top so that we get coverage all the way around. There you go. Looks good. Flash all the way around. Offsetting colors with the bucktail. I like it. All right, it's decision time. So my original thought here was to go back to the bugger pack. I actually have two that are already cut, already pulled off, I should say. They're not cut to size yet. And I was going to use these as flanking feathers. But I got to tell you, I'm looking at how this thing looks right now, and these little guys off of the back, they are really doing it for me. And I kind of don't want to put these on because I feel like it might take away from, I don't know, that element of the build, if that makes sense. I'm gonna mock it up and see what I think. I'm gonna put one on my side first. Here's what it would look like on your side. I say no. How many of you were just like, yes, he said no? I actually like it just like that. I like the flash on the top. I like it just like that. Although, strung peacock herl right on the top. Like, I'm thinking the June bug has that green flake in it, right? That's part of the head. Chartreuse is kind of a green deal. This has a green iridescence. Let's at least see. I'm gonna cut some. Let's see. If we don't like it, we can always take it off. You wanna know what it's like to be in the SDG bait lab late at night? This is basically what it's like. So, I like it so far. I'm gonna do it. Let's tie some in. Right on top. And only on top, right? This is just an accent to go along the top. It's got this, like I said, that iridescent quality to it. Yeah. Yeah. All right, cool. Whip finish. Go. Now we're going to go not to the loon. Anytime I do stuff like this that has exposed threads, I'm usually going to go to Sally Hansen's. Not all the time. In a future video, you will see potentially something different. But for now, we're going to go Sally Hansen's. Just kind of drip it on here and let it soak on down through. So let me get some close-up shots for you now. And then we're gonna put this in the test tank for sure. See how she swims. We'll wrap this thing up. That light's got a hold on me. You can tell by the way I'm talking. I see they got a hold on you. I can tell by the way you've been walking. It's getting hot, mama. It's getting hot. It's getting hot, mama. It's getting hot. July comes and you burn out in the sun, and it's hotter than a jungle too. Praying for the winter, but it ain't much better when your feet are freezing off in your boots. It's getting hot, mama. It's getting hot. It's getting hot, mama. Oh, it's getting hot. So, will it catch a walleye? I think it has potential. If it ever warms up, here it is, April, still nasty but cold outside. spring needs to get here full force so we can actually start taking these things out and trying them out on the water. So all you walleye guys, tell me in the comments down below, will that thing catch a walleye? Didn't turn out to be quite as long as I thought it was going to be, which I think is a good thing, right? 2-aught hook. There's just not that much you can put onto it. So maybe it's just right. Enjoyed the build today, guys. Hopefully you guys did too. If you'd like to see more just like it, click on this video right here. If you're curious why I call the channel SDG, click on this video right here. Otherwise, until the next time, I'll see you guys at the vise.